I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and in the midst of a bunch of devices coming out this holiday season, the One X Plus is one that's got a pretty decent value proposition. This is part 2 of a full review, but first, special thanks to our partners at Best Buy Mobile for giving us devices like the One X Plus for use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game. When you walk into Best Buy Mobile, you'll deal with unbiased advice, whether you're looking at AT&T or T-Mobile or Verizon or Sprint. They'll make sure you get what works best in your respective house, your office, your city, and more at Best Buy Mobile. It's part 2. Does 64 gigabytes of storage make this device the best, or should you go with something like the Galaxy S3, the Xperia TL, or one of the Motorola devices on AT&T? Let's find out. It's part 2, and it starts right now. Part 2 of a dogfight video with the HTC One X Plus. This is a great device on AT&T if you're not a fan of the Galaxy S3 or the Note 2 or the Xperia TL or the Lumia series or the 8X series or any of these devices that are coming out this holiday season on AT&T. Take a look at the One X because I think it's really underrated, and I hope that despite not doing a ton of marketing around it, I hope that AT&T and HTC sell quite a few of these because spec for spec, it's got some pretty decent stuff that's worth considering. To give you a recap, 1.7 gigahertz quad-core NVIDIA Tegra 3 processor, 8 megapixel camera with 1080p HD recording, Beats audio, a 2,100 milliamp hour battery, 4G LTE, Android 4.1 with HTC Sense version 4 Plus. You got Jelly Bean, you got a new version of HTC Sense. It's really bringing the HTC One X up into kind of late 2012 specs so it can compete with the S3, to compete with the Note 2 and the Xperia TL and all those different devices that are coming out on the market. HTC kind of needed a flagship device on AT&T to lead it through the holiday season, and here it is. So without further ado, let's take a look at quadrant standard on this device. First of all, NVIDIA Tegra 3 processor here, new to the 4G LTE side in the US. Second of all, it's a quad-core processor and it's packing some killer specs. So we'll take a look and see. I'll give you a heads up. It does do really well in quadrant standard. That said, kind of a concern that I had was battery life when I first looked at this device because I was like, you know, Tegra 3, awesome processor, not the best when it comes to battery life historically. I will say it's pretty decent here. I get about 10 to 11 hours with moderate use on this device, and so it puts it kind of right in the middle of the other devices that I've been testing this holiday season. That said, when I play games, it does eat up the battery. And just a small thing, I wish that Sense 4 Plus would include, and I say this in all the videos, but a physical battery percentage indicator. So not just the battery one that you see in the top right-hand corner, but a battery percentage indicator that says, hey, I'm at 64% or 62%, where I can more effectively analyze whether I need to plug it into the charger or not. You know, maybe I've got 40% left, and I'm walking into a meeting or I'm walking out to go on the road or something, and I don't have access to a charger. It'd be nice to know where I could say, hey, I need to bring a charger for the road, or need to bring a charger for this meeting. Quadrant standard score is 7,249, so really impressive scores. We're getting into the 7,000 and 8,000 scores here with the Tegra 3s and the Exynos devices that have quad-core processors, or the Exynos quad-core processor, I should say, and then of course the Snapdragon S4 Pro. So we're getting up into these high speeds on quadrant standard. Really impressive here when you consider that, you know, just a year ago or even 6 months ago, we were looking at scores of like 2,000 to about 4,000. So really impressive all around there. And let's take a look at speed test as well on this device, and I should have it downloaded. I set it to download earlier. Let's take a look and see if we can get that. Sorry about that. Speed test was not installed. So I'll take a look here actually on this device for the first time. We'll agree to this and we'll go into tools and change this over. Make sure it's on a Dallas server. Good to go. AT&T's LTE has been really strong in the Dallas Metroplex. Dallas-Fort Worth has no problem with AT&T LTE connectivity. You see speeds like this, about 20 megabits per second. So AT&T is still growing with their LTE network. It's not quite as diverse, city speaking, as Verizon's, nor is it as, actually let's take a look at this, 19.93 megabits per second, 12.50 megabits per second. It's not as diverse in terms of the rollout. That said, it's not as saturated also, so you're seeing speeds that are really fast and they're working well. That said, we'll see what happens in a year. I think AT&T is doing a good job rolling out LTE and building it up as that network pop number increases. So basically what I'm saying is as the network population picks up on LTE, the speeds are going to continue to be good. At least that's my thought with the AT&T 4G LTE network so far based on my testing. So impressive scores there. And I want to jump into the camera here because this is something I loved about the HTC One X, and it continues over on the One X Plus. You've got an 8 megapixel camera, 1080p HD recording capabilities, and you got HTC's ImageSense chip. So we'll bring over something, for example, like Verizon Wireless, like a press release here, for example, just to take a look at some of the text. And you can see, there it is, focusing in, and I have the same S Pen, or I looked at S Pen and said S Pen. I have the same ImageSense features here as I did before, including this one of my favorites, where I'm just taking repeated pictures, and when I let go, I can find the best picture, as you can see right here. and we can say, oh, you know what, that's the best. That's the best shot. We'll delete the rest of the images right there. So you got that ability. You also have the ability while you're recording to take still shots. So let's say you're watching a football game or you're at a Cowboys game and you're go Cowboys, woohoo, and you realize you want to take some pictures in addition to your video recording. You can do that on this device. And then you got some nice settings as well over here. Typical stuff, self-timer, aspect and resolution, overall video quality, ISO, white balance. You can change and modify all of that, turn the flash on and off. And you've got some slow motion video stuff you can do. These are really cool to me. Panorama, group portrait is cool as well because when I click on group portrait, I can capture the perfect shot. No smile or no blinking, no smiles, all blinking. No blinking, all smiles, where I can make sure everybody's smiling and looking happy in the picture. So they're bringing some of these great features. HDR's been there, panorama, things like that. Got scene selection as well. I can select between portrait, backlit, and night. So really some new stuff when it comes to camera that makes an already great camera even better. HTC's ImageSense chip is fantastic. I love the camera on this device. If you're looking for something with an exceptional camera, this is going to be a device that goes head-to-head, in my opinion, with the iPhone 5, the Galaxy S3, and the Galaxy Note 2 in many ways, and in some ways it surpasses those. I was amazed at Mobile World Congress when these were announced. The original One series was announced. I continue to be very impressed with the One X. Also, something else I want to cover, this only has 1 GB of RAM. That's something that may be of a concern to a lot of people, considering the fact that HTC Sense 4 Plus, even though it's been pared back from the older versions, it still does eat up a little bit of memory. So that's something to keep in mind. It does not have 2 GB like the Note 2 or the Galaxy S3. So yeah, while it may have that quad-core processor, that is an area where you're sacrificing on the One X Plus. I haven't found much of a speed slowdown in this device. Every now and again, I'll see a loading thing where it'll load typical HTC Sense, where it kind of brings up that loading pinwheel, if you will, and for 2 or 3 seconds it loads something up, like when I go back to home screen or something of that nature. Not a big deal to me. I don't really see a lot of lag in day-to-day use in this device, and really, as with any device, the iPhone 5, Android, Windows Phone, there's an occasional lag when an application doesn't close properly or something of that nature. So keep that in mind. I haven't had a huge issue with this device. Again, I think it more than offsets it with the 64 GB of internal storage, the Beats audio, the camera, and more. Speaking of Beats audio, you can access that by going into settings right here and then turning it on when you have Beats audio plugged in. It's not available obviously on the phone speaker, but you do get it here. So when you plug in Beats headphones, it'll automatically unlock that toggle and you can turn it on right there. Also, you get HTC Media Link HD, which is pretty useful as well. Another cool feature that comes with the HTC One X Plus.
Sharing photos and videos on your phone with a bunch of friends can get a little crowded. So why not show them on the big screen with the HTC Media Link HD? Setting it up.
And there you go. So you got the Media Link HD. All you have to do is plug it into your TV and you can use the 3 swipes to send it up to the TV and take a look at your pictures right there. So that's a cool little feature as well. I think they're trying to bring over a connected home kind of environment with the HTC One X Plus. And I think they're doing a decent job at that. I just hope the marketing on the AT&T side, because let's be honest, when it comes to the States, we're very much a carrier-centric place. So when it comes to the States, it's all about the marketing on AT&T side and the marketing on HTC side when it comes to pushing these to consumers. It's all about walking into the retail store. The average mainstream consumer still walks into the retail store to make a device decision. Got to have that device available, got to have some marketing dollars behind it. So I'm hoping it sells well. It's a great device all around. The 1 GB of RAM may be a concern to some people, but I think it really offsets it by things like 64 GB of internal storage, a great camera, and more. Press and hold home to access Google Now, and we'll bring this up. Discover Google Now. Let's go ahead and activate this. Next. Next. And yes, I am for sure in. Let me pull this away to make sure it doesn't bring up my home address. And perfect, it did not. So here we go. Not that I wouldn't love to have you over, but it did not bring it up. Cards show up here when you need them. You can do your home address. It'll automatically kind of figure out where you live, your daily commute. For example, my office is about 11 miles away from my house. It commutes to, or gives me the estimated commute every single morning. When I look it up, it says 5 minutes delay, 30 minutes delay, 40 minutes delay. With Dallas traffic, you never quite know how long the actual delay is, but you got weather and more. And then, of course, there's a new version available also. So when you search for a flight, when you bring up a UPS or FedEx tracking number, you've got the features in Google Now to make that happen. And it continues to perform well. So you do get that out of the box with this device. So all in all, I'm really impressed with the One X Plus. I think it's really underrated. Take a look at it in an AT&T store. See if it's the device for you. I think a lot of people are really going to like this device. Great build quality, decent price, and a lot of internal storage, complete with Android 4.1. Keep it locked on PhoneDog.com for more coverage on the HTC One X. Hit me up on Twitter. Let me know what you think of the One X Plus. Are you gunning for that Note 2, gunning for the GS3, gunning for this? Love to hear from you. PhoneDog_Aaron, and on Facebook at Facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Stay tuned for dogfights with this device and more. It's a wild holiday season, and the fun continues at PhoneDog.com. We'll see you next time.